Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. We're going to spend half an hour together, and I'll try to be as entertaining as I can. I, Fred Petitpont, I'm CTO and co-founder of a company called Lab. We're experts in video understanding, and the promise we do bring to our customers is to be able for them to retrieve the moment they need through petabytes of video archive. I'm just gonna start my presentation with a few numbers. 500 hours per minute. Does anyone has an idea what this metric stands for? 500 hours per minute. It's a volume of video that is uploaded on YouTube every minute. So just since the start of my presentation, well, already 500 hours were uploaded here. Now, 15 years. I did a few math recently, actually. And 15 years, sometimes we are making the joke of like, can you actually watch everything that is on Netflix? Is it actually physically possible? Well, if you're watching Netflix 8 hours per day, you can watch the entire content on Netflix. But the reality is, during those 15 years, Netflix may have produced again 10 years of fresh content. So it will take you again 10 years to watch everything they produce. So to put it simple, it's not possible to watch everything on Netflix. Well, we are in an era of attention economy, so you need to produce more, you need to produce better content, you need to produce faster all the time, again and again, with always less resources. And one of the reasons why we created Moments Lab was actually to tackle that challenge. We are understanding video, we are splitting video into shots, looking for faces, landmarks, and describing all scenes using natural language and making that searchable. Recently, we released 6 months ago our new discovery agent. And that agent enables users to actually interact and speak in natural language with their whole media library. And agentic is kind of a trendy term at the moment. And during this presentation, I'd like to show you what we learn in our journey, the good, the bad, and the ugly too. Because I think there are a lot of tips I can share, and I'm happy to share that with you. To give you a quick idea of how this agent is working, I'd like to share in a few minutes, a video.
AI tools have changed the way we search. We've gone from typing keywords into search engines to simply asking for what we need. But for teams working with video, the search evolution hasn't kept up. Hours of great footage remains hidden by outdated folder structures, meaningless metadata, or reliant on that one colleague who knows how and where to look. It's time for change. Meet the Moments Lab Discovery Agent, your personal research assistant for video that knows your entire media library. Powered by MXT Multimodal AI Indexing, the Discovery Agent finds the right clip, quote, or scene in seconds. Simply ask it a question, request a theme, or describe what you're looking for, and it'll deliver exact moments. It can suggest what to create, uncover hidden gems you didn't even know you had, and bring context to your stories, pulling insights from beyond your own archive. So whether you're repurposing footage for a recap, a best-of compilation, trailer, documentary, shorts, or reels, forget about all that time spent scrolling and scrubbing. Find the moment, not just the file, with the Moments Lab Discovery Agent.
One thing to make an agent, to have an agent working and be able to search through video is, well, you need to pre-index video. It's not like you can have like 100 million hours of video and just out of the box make it searchable. So we develop a technology that is called MXT that is basically able to chunk video into shots, into sequences, and then we generate vector embeddings, we generate natural language description, and we store that in big vector search. That means that when you start working with this agent, it's like a human, doing like plenty of search requests per second, retrieving the best moments you need for your story. it's been deployed to a few customers, and well, to give you a quick idea who we're working with, I mean, there are different verticals. We're working for media industry, of course, but also sports, brands, and production companies, and news. We've been indexing a lot of video hours. I mean, we're not using agentic or AI as POCs. We don't really do POCs, to be honest. This system has been in production for a few years now, and we're using Gen AI at scale. You can deploy the product in two ways. You do have what we call Media Hub, where you do have an agent that you can actually use to query your own database. You can bring your own storage, and on top of that, we'll index it and make it searchable. And you can also use an API to have similar functionality in a third-party tool. Let's get back to the agentic things that we discover on our journey. I'd like to share a few real prompts that were kind of used around the last few months. We gathered last month around 10,000 prompts, which is quite a lot. And the kind of thing we discover is most people, they are not putting context in their prompt, and they're kind of using it to search in a kind of very accurate way. So, for example, this one is who are the main contenders to be Pope, and what clips do I have of them in my library? If you were to use classic keyword search query to do the same, it wouldn't work actually. I don't even know what I would be writing to actually have the same results in a keyword-based approach. A few other examples that we do have. Okay, find me the clip of Crimson Tide where the king talks about family and loyalty. Can you find some beauty shot of a survival island? We got even more into that one. We're a bit early. Can you give me stories of Robert Redford engaging in local communities? So there is a kind of abstraction that you could not do with a classic search engine. But I think going further, what we discovered is there are also queries that we did not expect. There were queries about, oh, can you generate voice cloning, or can you do that and this and this? It kind of raised kind of new challenging around that. And I think releasing an agent is, yeah, I mean, you do have lots of tutorials on how you build an agent online. It's not so much the problem. It's already one milestone to reach. But once you do have that, how do you evaluate the quality of the answers? How do you evaluate the quality of the discussion, of the conversation users are having with that system? Because everyone, both the human and the machine, are interacting using proper sentences. And that's one thing, first thing that we discover is most people don't know how to prompt. And I include myself on that. I'm not an expert in prompting. Actually, I do believe that prompt engineer will become a real job soon. And by that, I mean that most of the time they're not providing context. So for example, so we recently signed Banijay, it's the production company that is behind Peaky Blinders, MasterChef, etc. But let's say you are an editor working for MasterChef. You might want to do, I don't know, a top 10 best donuts ever baked in MasterChef. Well, the thing is, I'm not going to exactly say what they want to do. They will prompt the agent saying, okay, can you find me donuts, or can you find me delicious donuts? But if you start your prompt saying, okay, I'm working on a 10-minute story for not for TikTok, but for YouTube, and I'm targeting a Gen Z audience, can you help me find nice donuts? The answer is going to be so different. And most of the time we don't do that, but actually if you think about it and you're about to brief a human, you will give that person some context and not okay, find me some donuts. No, it's not working, right? Oh, I'm working on a story where I'm targeting a Gen Z demographic. Here is a brief. So what we saw was giving the best results is basically when you were copy and pasting the traditional brief that you're doing to a human. So what we did do to actually solve that issue is implementing something we call reasoning. So now maybe some of you have been trying Perplexity, where you do have a deep research mode. Reasoning is basically trying to understand the prompt and will improve the prompt in the background. The system will query all databases on internet to actually enrich its context, because if you stick to the LLM is frozen in time, so you don't know everything. And by giving that, it means that the system has a capacity to even query, let's say, a blog post that has already been talking about donuts from MasterChef and use that as a source of extended knowledge. I think what we discovered also is like each customer, each user has a different editorial guidelines. And if you are a news channel, you might not have exactly the same editorial tone than another one, or a production company, or a brand, or a marketing team. So we gave them the capacity to kind of customize and make this agent their own so they can tailor and enforce a kind of editorial guideline that are matching the one from your stakeholders or company. 10,000 prompts. It's a lot. And actually, if you're asking one of our product manager, I mean, they won't have the time to read everything, or they won't have access to the data. So how do you know if the system is answering properly or not? Well, you got it. You need to develop another agent to understand your agent, which is kind of crazy if you think about it. But the amount of text that is generated is so huge that you need that kind of technology to help you find trends and improve. But it's not really stepping there. I mean, it's the surprise I'm not sure it's a surprise, but people are not really thumbs up and down. I mean, I'm not sure if people are using it in ChatGPT. I mean, you don't want to spend time or lose time doing that. So hopefully we have a few people doing it, but the reality is most people are not using that. So you can't expect to rely on that to improve. So we use a methodology called LLM as a judge that is basically helping you assess the quality of the prompt and the answer. So anytime basically someone is prompting and having a conversation in the background, we ask another LLM to give it a kind of ranking from 1 to 5. And then when you do have a few sum up and down, you will have a curve and you will measure, okay, I had many 5s. Do you have a few sum up in 5? And you check that. So the bottom line is it's not solving everything, but it's solving 80% of the thing. And then you can have like human review on top of that. You may wonder what's next. I mean, I'm already talking about agents evaluating themselves. I think there are a few things I'd like to share. I don't know if some of you know A2A or MCP, maybe. A2A and MCP are kind of connectors that are here to enable agents to talk to other applications or to talk together. A2A was released, I think, in Feb or March by Google as an open source protocol. Actually, it stands for application to agent, but most people are saying agent to agent. Well, it doesn't matter. And what is interesting, it was adopted by Microsoft 3 weeks after Google announced it, which it never happened in the industry. And so we started to use that protocol, and it enables things that are really interesting. I think most people today are working with Slack at Teams. This is where we're spending a lot of our time, right? And you're already talking to people using natural language and using text. And the way I see those, I mean, as I'm calling those workOS, they're a bit like Trojan horse for agent. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it in a kind of pejorative way. I mean, it's more like if you want to have agent already being used somewhere, I mean, you got to be where users are every day. But the reality is most of us don't like being introduced to a new UI or yet another tool where you need to switch, etc. So the future to me is the user journey would actually start on your workOS. And you might say, okay, I need a 2-minute video to prepare a product keynote, and please include this, and this, and this. It will start on Teams and Slack, and then the system will automatically talk to the right agent at the right time and return the response, and then you will continue your journey in a dedicated UI, whether it's like a DaVinci panel, an Avid Media Composer panel, or an Adobe Premiere panel, or even a dedicated browser UI where you can edit. The more we are deploying agents, the more we start to learn new things. And I'm going to be totally honest with you, the user we're working with have not the same maturity, right? You do have people that are at the very beginning of the journey, where you do have company that already have a whole agentic governance and plan. If I talk about our company, we deployed agentic pretty much everywhere. So it means like on Slack, you can interact with a CRM just by talking to an agent. You can talk and browse all the support incidents using an agent. And we are to encourage people to actually build an agent and each team to have their own agent. And it's a very convenient way where you're not that many to actually cover, kind of on-call routines and stuff like that. But it's easy for us. We're about 100 people in the company. So it's very different to like a big studio where you do have thousands of people and you have to do change management to actually have that possible. Getting back to that, what is interesting is when you start to deploy agents, you need to build diagrams and you need to include which agents are allowed to talk to each agent. Most of the time, it starts with a big orchestrator agent that is just there. And that is key. It means like, I don't know if you know that, but Google, AWS, OpenAI are actually pushing a lot the door to be there because once you're there, you can actually control all the other agents here. And you can create a lot of value for your users. It's creating a lot of different challenges around security, around governance, around permissions. And last time, so I did the diagram like a week ago, and we spent, I think, like half an hour discussing where should we put human in the loop. And human in the loop has been pronounced like, I don't know, like 10 times. Where do you need a human to make sure that the quality is okay or not? And if you look at the diagram, actually, it looks like a bit like an org chart. But the main difference is instead of having the CEO on top, you do have the user himself and a lot of different agents working for that person. And I think you can build really incredible thing. And I'd like to share that project that we did at IBC with BBC, Google, ITN, Channel 4. There was also, I think, NBC and Paramount there. And the idea was to build and to integrate agentic in the world of live production. And you might say like, wow, live production, I mean, there is no mistake. I mean, you can't, you have to do it right away for the first time because, I mean, live is all about reactivity. But that was the whole point. How can you be alone in the newsroom to actually manage the whole rundown and program? One interesting thing, so of course Google is there because it's also a nice way to build an industry standard for A2A. So A2A, again, remember, is the capacity for two agents to talk together. It's a very new protocol. They already, in each industry, they start to have like different standards. So if you think about the medical industry, for example, there starts to be different standards on how you can communicate. It's still pretty new. It's not, I mean, the product team from Google was there and we learned so much together and we are defining a new standard through this kind of iteration. I'm about to share a video that may look a bit technical though. What you need to know is, in a traditional world, most systems are integrating through APIs. And it's been decades that we say that machine will program themselves, and because of API or SOAP or WSDL, we won't need, machine will talk to machine, but it's never been true. That, however, is very different because in what you will see in that video, no agent has been integrating explicitly together.
What if you could talk to your TV production and it responded instantly? This is AI integration for live TV.
Live TV is relentless, sweeping changes across the industry, serving more platforms than ever before. Tighter turnarounds, smaller budgets. Automation has helped broadcasters to keep up, but has impacted operators. Cognitive overload, different UIs for different tasks. Operators drown in buttons, panels, and touchscreens. Attention is focused on navigating the kit instead of on the program. Our answer, a crew of AI agents to assist when red lights are on. Welcome to AI Agent, Assistance for Live Production. Last year, we revisioned the running order as a data bucket and integrated LLM technology to pull info from the program, plus natural language voice-first control and a checking agent.
Is there an Israel story in the running order? If so, is there a SOT clip in there? Is it online? And what are the outwords, please?
Yes, there is an Israel story in the running order. There is an SOT sound on tape clip in that story, but it is currently offline. The outwards of the SOT clip remains to be seen.
1 year on, one clear mission: advance human-centered AI for live TV.
So I was really interested to join this IBC Accelerator project because the tech is moving so incredibly quickly. I think as broadcasters, we need to learn by doing, and we need to be getting involved and showing the industry what we need from this sort of technology. I also think it's the first time anyone's tried this. This is a real opportunity to get involved in how we can integrate agentic systems with live production, possibly changing how we're going to make TV in the future.
At the foundation of this accelerator, 12 teams, champions, and participants, broadcasters and vendors, all collaborating to build agents. The outcome? The agents we created collaborating with each other. And this is just the beginning. The potential for agentic systems in broadcasting is huge. Human skill enhanced with AI speed. Broadcasters and vendors working together. The future of live television.
I can dub. I can dub as a human what's happening next. So here is how it's working. So you do have that person in front of all these screens in a big newsroom and a control room. And so in that accelerator, they kind of added an extra challenge where they didn't want that person to use his keyboard, but just doing voice control, kind of an extra challenge. And what they did is have an orchestrator agent that was actually communicating with a rundown agent that was basically having access to the rundown, but there was also other agents that were here to help. So let's take an example. Okay, you're missing one content or one shot in your rundown. So you say, okay, I'm missing one shot here. I need to replace one moment here. Can you find another moment that I could fit in a rundown? And the orchestrator will automatically talk to the discovery agent, which was our agent at that time, to find a moment that would fit there. In that moment, there was like human faces that you need to blur. So the operator was saying, please, can you blur those faces? And the orchestrator agent was talking automatically to the EVS agent that was in charge of blurring and sending back that moment. So you might say, well, it's pretty straightforward. It's just a workflow. Yes, but no one told the orchestrator that it should talk to the EVS agent to actually blur the faces. When you are creating that orchestrator, you are referencing each agent with a kind of job description. And you're saying, okay, this is the EVS agent. Here is how you can prompt it, how you can use it. Here is what you can do in natural text, right? No code here. And actually, I think in that hackathon, there were not a lot of developers. There were mostly people doing prompts and scripts, but there was not many software engineers to build this whole thing together. So that's what would have happened in the rest of that video. That was a prototype, right? It is a bit early to put that in production in the live newsroom now, but that is really showcasing how fast you can actually integrate things together and build things that you could not build before. And when it comes to storytelling and back to a discovery agent, I'm deeply convinced that when you are a creator, a video editor, the way you are interacting with your content, the way you are searching for your content is impacting the story you're telling afterward. And one good example that we do have, I think everyone knows I'm French because of my accent, so I'm going to take a very French example. When we're talking about inflation in France, we're using something called a baguette index. So it means like we are comparing the price of the baguette. So in the worldwide, I think in the world, we are using the Big Mac index across countries, but in France, no, it's a baguette. So, well, if you're a journalist and you need to talk about prices and taxes, what do you do? Well, you take a shot of someone entering a boulangerie and then a close-up shot of a hand taking a baguette and then paying. And guess what? Over the years, over the months, it's always the same boulangerie, the same shot of the same baguette and over and over and over. Why? Because this is the only one that is indexed and that your system knows where it is, right? And we do have customer in the Middle East. It's pretty much the same thing, but with a direct that is moving. So, I mean, it's a simple example, right? But the way you are accessing the content is totally impacting the story you're going to tell afterwards. And I deeply believe that agentic and that capacity to prompt your whole media library will enable creative users to tell stories that they could not have been able to tell before, because you can browse past to past, present to build future. Thank you so much for your attention, and I'm really sorry about that technical issue. I'd be happy to talk about agentic strategy, agentic compliance, or where you are on your journey on that. Thank you so much, everyone.
Before we let Fred off the stage, does anybody have any questions? All right. Did we find one?
No other question? No? Okay.
I have a
No question, Emily.
All right.
I'm here for the next few hours. Oh, okay, go on.
All right, we have one question over here. Could you talk more about agentic strategy?
Agentic strategy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like talking about that. I think today, if you're just deploying one agent, I mean, it's pretty straightforward, right? You have an agent, it has a specific purpose, and it can work like that. The more you'll be using that agent, the more you would like this agent, or you would wait for this agent to have more purpose and do more things that it may not be able to do. So thinking about an agent is only good at 4 or 5 tasks. If you, let's say you want an agent to search for content, you can't use the same agent to do compliance. So you might want to add new agents, but you don't want to use like different UI to actually talk to different agents. You want to use the same UI to talk to different agents at that time. So you don't want to know, okay, I'm doing compliance, so should I prompt here or there? No, I want to do, I don't know, I want to collect audiences on a specific content or audiences from yesterday. You don't want to specify to which agent you want to talk. And the more you're deploying agentic, the more you do have agents, and the more I believe we will need some governance in each company to say, okay, here is the kind of org chart of agents. This one is dedicated to that. You have the permission to talk to this one, but not to this one, etc., etc. So by strategy, I'm saying governance and also tasks. It's like a product. A product can't be good at everything. It's the same for an agent. Well, thank you for your question. Okay. Well, thank you so much, everyone.